this activity, students participate in a survey answering questions about their feelings regarding various economic systems, as well as methods for funding government. Then they get to compare their results with those of a large research study across 4 countries: Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. They'll discover trends among those that support socialism and those that don't, as well as who is willing to support the methods necessary to pay for socialism. You will need an interactive polling tool like Pear Deck, Nearpod, or a similar polling tool. We're using Pear Deck in the slides provided.
So we're going to start with a survey of 4 different countries, and we're going to survey you, just like the actual survey was done, except you probably weren't a part of that original survey group. It was done in conjunction with Leger, a Canadian market research and analytics company, and the issues that they were looking at were support for socialism, definitions of socialism, and willingness to pay for socialism. So on the first question I'm going to ask you, and you're going to go to your phone if you're connected to Pear Deck, and you're going to answer this question. Based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that fascism is the ideal economic system for your country.
It's important not to give away the definitions of the economic systems up front. Part of the activity is to discover what their perceptions and beliefs are about capitalism and socialism. Definitions are provided later.
Here we go for the second question. Based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that communism is the ideal economic system for your country. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. Okay, here's the next one. Based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that socialism is the ideal economic system for your country. And the last one, based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that capitalism is the ideal economic system for your country.
After asking the first 4 questions, return to each slide and reveal their answers as a large group.
All right, I'm going to go back before I show you some results of large group, and we're going to look at your answers. So let me get back to question 1, and we'll show the responses. Okay, we have, for fascism, most everybody strongly disagreeing, 3 people disagree, 1 person agreed. We're going to go to question number 2, showing responses. Everybody strongly disagreeing or disagree. Okay, here's showing responses for socialism. We have a strongly agree and 8 agree, so that's 9 in the 2 agrees. 21 for disagree and strongly disagree. And here's question 4, capitalism, showing responses. And we have 26 in the agree categories, strongly agree and agree, and we have 4 in the disagree and strongly disagree.
Then use slides 8 through 12 to show the results of the survey participants at large.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at, this is breaking it down by some age groups. So for all ages versus 18 to 24-year-olds, all ages are represented by the dark blue line, and the light blue bars are 18 to 24-year-olds. And this first set of bars would be Canada. So you can see Canada. In Canada, well, let me ask you, what trend do you notice?
Young people tend to support it less.
There's less support for capitalism among younger people than there are for all ages, except for the UK, which is pretty close, but there's actually a little bit stronger support for capitalism by the younger generation than there is all ages.
As you move from slide to slide, ask students to identify trends or conclusions they can draw from the charts. Now note, the results focus on socialism as that was the focus of this study.
Okay, here is socialism. And what trend do you see here? Much greater support by the younger generations. 18 to 24 are represented by the darker bars on the right. Those are the 18 to 24-year-olds. And this is all ages, the lighter orange bars. And you'll see again the much greater support for socialism by the younger generations than the older generations. This breaks it down more by age group. So as we move in this direction, the lightest orange is 18 to 24-year-olds, and then we have 25 to 34, and then 35 to 54, and the darkest brownish color is older than 55. Now what do you notice?
The older people have a different definition.
The older people have a different definition than younger?
Of the younger people.
Okay. Rhea.
If you're living during the Red Scare, you're probably going to still associate socialism with communism and
be
very afraid of it, in my opinion.
And that would go to also a different experience, that younger people haven't experienced that. Okay, back to your Pear Deck slide. How do you define socialism?
Ask students to provide their best definition of socialism on Pear Deck or other polling tool. And after they've had a couple minutes to generate an answer, reveal their answers anonymously and read several or many of them, focusing on those that reference equity, equality, fair, collectively, etc.
I'm going to share a few of these. We'll scroll through some of them. Government ownership of the factors of production, an economic system where the government takes a higher percentage of taxes in order to provide social safety nets to the country. An equal distribution of resources. It's a command economy with policies to promote the redistribution of wealth, but using more peaceful methods to get there rather than a violent uprising.
Use slides 14 and 15 to provide a more traditional and then a more modern definition of socialism. Make comparisons to some of the definitions students wrote.
And like your definitions, I think we saw the state controls the resources and makes decisions about production and equitable distribution.
Use slides 16 through 19 to illustrate how many survey participants believe socialism means more government services, a guaranteed annual income, or both.
So here's traditional socialism. If the definition looked like traditional socialism, more social programs and guaranteed income, this was more our kind of definition, our traditional definition of socialism. And more social programs, guaranteed income, you can see that the definition is definitely changing.
Use slides 21 through 24 to ask survey questions 6 through 9 regarding different taxation methods to pay for socialism. Have the students provide their answers in Pear Deck or another polling tool.
How do we pay for it though, right? How do we pay for it? And the answer is taxes. So back to your survey questions, back to your phone, to Pear Deck. We assume that socialism means more social services are provided by the government along with cash payments to support lower and middle income individuals and families. Do you support or oppose the following measure? Do you support a wealth tax that would be imposed on the top 1% of high-income citizens? So a wealth tax. How would you feel about that?
Use slides 25 through 28 to reveal the survey participants' results for support of different methods of taxations to pay for socialism. As you show the charts, ask students to identify trends that they notice.
Nearly 6 in 10 Americans feel greater emphasis on socialism in the U.S. would mean more government social programs, and nearly half believe it would mean guaranteed income for every citizen. Does this surprise you?
There is strong support for socialism amongst 18 to 34-year-olds, while the majority of older individuals don't support socialism. Today, younger individuals define socialism as more government spending, meaning more services and/or guaranteed annual income. While people generally want someone else to pay for socialism, there is weak support for the broad-based tax increases that would be necessary to support it.
This is the support for free daycare so moms can go to work if there's no tax increase. But if there's going to be a general sales tax increase, the support drops to 36% from 69%. Pharmacare, well, when there's no tax increase, 79% support that. It drops to 40% when we follow it with a tax increase. And no tax increase, with no tax increase, they support dental care. But when we add a sales tax increase to that, it drops to 42%. So everybody is in favor of it, but when it comes time to pay for it, there's a lot less support. You know, the support falls away.
Younger individuals want what they perceive Sweden and Denmark to have. But in Denmark and Sweden, even the middle class pay 55% of their income for services. They perceive themselves as market economies that pay for education and healthcare.